Okay. Good morning. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Environmental Justice Now with Virginia Interfaith Power and Light. My name is Faith Harris, and I'm the Executive Director for Virginia Interfaith Power and Light. And I'm standing in for Leah Jones, who is our water organizer who is out today. And so before we get started, I would like to do a brief land acknowledgement. And even though we are on a video call and many of us are calling in and looking in from different places around the state, we want to remind ourselves that we gather on unceded land of indigenous peoples who were here long before any of us. And I'm joining in from Richmond, Virginia, and I'm on the land of Powhatan and Chickahominy peoples. And if you are unsure whose land you are on and you want to find out, you can go to native-land.ca and you can find there your land, the land acknowledgement, and be able to acknowledge uh, the people who actually lived on this land before we did, and who actually still have, in many ways, rights and ownership of this land. Again, I'm Faith Harris, and today our topic is keeping Virginia in RGGI. Let's keep Virginia in the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative. I have a guest this morning with us. Her name is Jessica Sims. She is Virginia Field Coordinator for Appalachian Voices. And before we introduce Jessica further, I want to just say a few things just to get us into the conversation a little bit. This week, the Southern Environmental Law Center named Virginia Interfaith Power and Light and actually Appalachian Voices, among others, as plaintiffs in the Fairfax County Circuit Court case against the Governor Youngkin and the Air Pollution Board's attempt to remove Virginia's participation in the 11 state regional greenhouse gas initiative, also known as RGGI. In July, the Air Pollution Board Control Board, at the direction of Governor Youngkin, voted to remove Virginia from participating in the multi-state emissions reduction program. And the program requires power plants to buy allowances for each ton of carbon pollution they produce while reducing the number of allowances available yearly to align with climate goals and to incentivize the transition to renewable energy. Um, the law passed in 2020 by the General Assembly, directing the state to join RGGI and allocating those proceeds has proven to be the best practical method for addressing carbon pollution and carbon reduction, lowering energy costs, and protecting Virginians against increased flooding and the adverse health impacts of air pollution. According to the EPA, we have seen a decrease in carbon and greenhouse gas emissions of over 16%, and RGGI has raised over $650 million towards projects with real community impacts. And Virginia is unique among RGGI states because we have dedicated nearly all of our proceeds towards environmental justice efforts. Governor Youngkin and his administration have yet to introduce meaningful, effective pollution um, reduction solutions that are cost effective and that address climate change. And removing Virginia from RGGI without a plan to make up those reductions or to provide funds for flood preparedness and weatherization for vulnerable communities is a sign in our minds of irresponsible leadership in the face of this climate crisis. Some ask, why does Virginia IPL support RGGI? Well, we believe that the climate crisis is the moral issue of our times, and how we as global, federal, state governments, and communities respond to the deadly impacts of burning fossil fuels demonstrates demonstrates what and who we care about as people. Climate change impacts are disrupting life on the planet with wildfires, droughts, flooding, heat waves, and increased intensified weather events. And so many people are losing their homes, livelihoods, and loved ones. And it is a moral failure for us to not act to protect the vulnerable. Virginia IPL's mission is to educate and advocate for just, responsible stewardship of our planet and of our people. And so we stand strongly in favor of the law that was passed in 2020. And we want to see Virginia continue its efforts to reduce carbon and also to protect Virginians against rising costs as well as flooding. So I want to turn now to introduce our guest today, Jessica Sims. She is the field coordinator for Appalachian Voices. She was born and raised in Central Virginia, and Jessica holds a lifelong passion for protecting Virginia's waterways. Fine arts. She has a fine arts degree from Virginia Commonwealth University and UNC Greensboro. That all led her to the nonprofit world where she volunteered intensively with Chesapeake Climate Action Network, the James River Association, and as president of Art Space, a gallery in South Richmond, before working at the Sierra Club, Virginia chapter on their pipelines campaign. Jessica enjoys singing in Kelsmer Band. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She'll correct me if I'm wrong, if I was wrong. Uh, Creating artwork and canoeing on the James River with friends and family, and she is thrilled to join Appalachian Voices to help fight against frack gas pipelines. Jessica is a longtime uh, activist in the Richmond area, and we've had the pleasure of working with her on a number of occasions on a number of projects and campaigns. And she's a lovely person, and we're just really happy to meet her and to have the time to talk to her today. So, hi, Jessica.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, and appreciate the opportunity to be here and all the great work that you do and VAIPL does. I'm really thankful for that. And we've, yeah, gotten to work together on anti-pipeline campaigns and helping with others to fight the Atlantic Coast Pipeline.
Mhm.
Just really appreciative of everything y'all do to keep environmental justice centered and focused, and the great work going around the state.
Yes, thank you, Jessica. I really appreciate your work as well. It's a pleasure to have people like yourself to work with and to partner with on these campaigns. Sometimes it gets to be overwhelming, but when we have people like yourself who are you always show up with the same kind of positive attitude, and you have the same passion, and we're just really delighted to have you on today. This is your first time on the EJ Now show, and we hope it won't be your last.
Thank you. Yeah, really, again, appreciate the opportunity.
So let's jump right into to have ask you a few questions. So, what more do you want to share about Reggie and about what it is and the vision that Appalachian Voices has?
Yeah, so you spoke to this before. Essentially, it's creating a way for companies that are producing carbon to have that converted to an allowance, and then they would only have permission to emit a certain amount. And so they're paying into that, and it helps um, motivate them to reduce the amount of emissions that they are producing. So it's ultimately an incentive to stop burning fossil fuels and switch over to renewable green energy. And I think from Appalachian Voices perspective, and you've talked about this too, this is a program that helps Virginia wide. It is not limited to any area. We have seen the revenue from this program, that is a law, that is in our law, um, help communities from Buchanan County to the city of Hampton, to Henrico, where I am. And so we really feel it's a strong program that assists across Virginia. It's a climate solution that is very popular with Virginians. It is the law, and it's been effective in achieving pollution reductions while benefiting communities. And again, that's from Hampton Roads, um, investing in energy efficiency, flood mitigation. So we see this as a really positive program for Virginia and would want to remain in the program.
Thank you, Jessica. I really appreciate that perspective, and I think ensuring and helping people, those who are listening and those who are watching, to recognize that how important Reggie has already been to the Reggie funds and the Reggie fees that have been collected have already been for many Virginians around the state. Do you have any thoughts about that that you could add?
Yeah, I'll start with what I've seen locally. So there's, big dollar amounts that we can already point to. So in Henrico, we, because of Reggie, participate in the Community Flood Preparedness Fund that gets its funding from Reggie. Those funds help localities that may not have access to flood vulnerability assessments and flood mitigation. So that makes our county, where I live, our acquisition program for flood prone properties possible. So if I think about Henrico, it's 1,500 structures in the county that are within a floodplain and 7,000 more that have drainage issues. And so this is something that impacts people's daily lives, their quality of life. So that's one type of program that we've seen have direct help for communities. So if we're starting on the East Coast, we're seeing that the City of Hampton has received $9.6 million for roadway flood protections, retention, and redirection, for drainage systems, for improving riparian buffers. As we're moving in, Virginia Beach has gotten funding, almost $5 million, to help restore wetlands and improve water quality, to replace undersized stormwater pipes. We're looking at recurrent flooding in so many places that infrastructure needs improvement. As we head to the center of the state, Petersburg has gotten $2.6 million for stormwater, drainage, and floodplain study. And then when we're getting closer to the coalfield countries and we're looking at Buchanan County, where we saw significant flooding not that long ago, they've received flood resiliency funding to the amount of $387,000. So it looks different in each place, but it's the same type of problem that we're addressing, which are the impacts from climate disruption and climate change. And so we see this as a revenue source for Virginia that helps Virginians, that keeps Virginians safer, that makes their homes more energy efficient. And it's a program we fully support, and many Virginians across the state are fully in support of.
Yes, thank you. That's very true. And I really appreciate the emphasis on the flood preparedness aspect, the fund that is available to counties and authorities and cities and towns all across the state who are experiencing flooding as a result of increased precipitation, but also as a result of sea level rise. So there are a number of, challenges that the Flood Preparedness Fund can help counties and cities address. And so, thank you so much for raising that. There also is the aspect of the other fund that was created with Reggie funds, and that is the weatherization project. Do you have any comments or thoughts on that as well, or anything you could share?
A successful example of helping Virginians where they need help. That weatherization leads to more energy efficiency within homes. It's going to lower bills, utility bills for residents, and energy efficiency is needs to be such a big part of everything. I mean, at Appalachian Voices, my work primarily focuses on not adding new fossil fuel infrastructure, but with that, you have to pair it with clean renewable energy solutions, but also energy efficiency. How can we make what we're using right now as efficient as possible so we're using less? And so that weatherization program has helped people also across the state and has been a really important part of this.
Yes, it has, and I think a quote. I'm stealing it, and then I understand it was stolen already. But one of my one of our mutual friends, Andrew Grigsby, always says that the most cost-effective and most renewable form of energy is energy you don't use. And so that weatherization work and opportunities fund actually provides us the opportunity to not only lower cost for the individual homeowners, but it's also has like wider, longer ripple impacts because we're not using those same homeowners are using far less energy and are able to, that adds up to the larger goal of reducing our energy output and also decreasing carbon and greenhouse emissions gases emissions. So thank you for those two examples. Um, so why should we stay? So you've given us already some good reasons, but do you have a kind of a succinct answer for why Virginia should remain a RGGI partner?
RGGI is important to Virginia, and we should remain a RGGI partner because the RGGI program is a proactive and skillful way to force emission reductions while infusing needed funding into the future of Virginia. And to reiterate, our participation was mandated by law
Mhm.
and can only be removed by law. So it's a program that we've seen work already, and we're years into this. We've seen it work, we've seen it help Virginians. We know that it's law, and we want to remain in a program that has brought such benefit to the Commonwealth.
Well, with the very short period that we've actually been a RGGI participant, even though the law was passed in 2020, it took time to to get all of the all the processes in place. We've already seen a 16.8% reduction in carbon emissions, and so I think that right is a testament to how well it's working as well. It's a great opportunity for us to, in a in a very low cost to home to individuals, ratepayers, even if you want to count that as a negative, it's still a very low cost. I think it was about $2.39 or something like that per bill. Um, Again, RGGI has been working. RGGI is, obviously there are no initiatives or programs that are perfect, but this has been a practical solution that has provided really real world um, impacts for Virginians on a number of levels. So thank you for that. Um, are there opportunities for people to show their support? How do Virginians who recognize the importance, recognizing the practical nature of RGGI, recognizing that the benefits of it, and that it is, while it may not be the perfect solution, it is a solution that is moving us towards our renewable energy goals. Uh, what can they do?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways that you can take action right now on this issue. One of those, so I'll offer a couple. Talking to your elected representatives about why this program is important to you, whether it's flood preparedness or the positive impacts it has for public health by reducing emissions and sort of the ripple effect of that. We are in a comment period right now in reaction to the removal or attempted removal of Virginia from RGGI. And so you can voice your support for RGGI right now through August 30th at 11:59 p.m. There's petitions circulating that we can provide, and then you can also provide a comment directly on the DEQ Town Hall website. And so that's a place for you to say why you support RGGI, why you think we should stay in it, and to give a personal example of why climate resiliency funding is important to you, what is happening where you are, and why this matters to you, your family's future. Additionally, we are excited to say there are multiple rallies happening on Monday, August 28th at noon. So, a really fun way to spend a lunch break. We've got rallies in Woodbridge, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, Blacksburg, and Norfolk. And so The Chesapeake Climate Action Network has the hosting RSVP page for that has all of the addresses. You may have heard from some of the groups mentioned here today about this, but we would love to have folks come out and visually show your support for RGGI. In Richmond, we're excited to say that City Councilwoman Catherine Jordan will be in attendance, and also Richmond Mayor LeVar Stoney, talking about how important our participation in this program is. In Norfolk, Andrea McClellan will be speaking, and we're going to have some dynamic chants and speakers and sort of skits and information in each of those. It is critically important to continue public participation in any of these comment periods and opportunities to tell decision makers that this program is important to you. We see that sometimes the public voice is reduced or ignored. And so this collective public power, this pressure that we can have when we're in collaboration with each other, can really change outcomes. We want Governor Youngkin, the administration, to continue to hear how important our participation in this program is to us, and that we're not going away. We're going to be working to stay in this program no matter what happens next. It's important to Virginians. We want to support that. So contact your elected representatives, submit a comment before August 30th, or come hang out with us at one of the RGGI rallies in Northern Virginia, Richmond, Norfolk, or Blacksburg on Monday, August 28th at noon.
And so can you give us tell us the website for registering for that, or to find the addresses for people who are interested in showing up during their lunch hour?
Yeah, so I'm going to see if I have a sort of shortened link, which of course at the moment I don't, but if you visit the Chesapeake Climate Action Network page, and I'm going to see if I do have a shortened link for that.
Is that ccan.org?
Yeah, let me pull. I think they are Chesapeake Climate, and I'm going to see if we've got it up on our website too. Actually, if you visit Appalachian Voices social media, you can find information about the rallies there too. So hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Look for a RGGI picture, and then the RSVP is linked there. So sign up, and someone will, touch base with you about the rally, see if you have any questions. But everyone is welcome. We'd love to see folks there. So yeah, take a visit to our social media or Chesapeake Climate Action Network's social media. The Sierra Club Virginia chapter is also participating. So all of those places have links for the RSVP.
And if you are a follower of Virginia IPL and you receive our e-news, much of that information was in the e-news this past Tuesday. And then look for an email from us tomorrow morning with more details. So we didn't get all of the very long link up on the banner today, but we want to make sure that you know where to go. I can tell you for Richmond, you can go to 9th and Grace at 12 noon and meet folks there. We'll have plenty of signs. You'll see lots of energy and excitement. And so you'll know you're in the right place when you see that. So that's 9th Street and Grace, and it's not very far from the Capitol. As a matter of fact, we're right outside. We'll be standing right outside the Capitol. Jessica, any final words, any final thoughts, any final ideas that you want to share with those listening about RGGI, about the importance of carbon reduction, the importance of this time, where we are in the climate crisis, and what that means for not just Virginians, but what it means for our world?
Yes, thank you. And thanks for talking about this important program. We're at a moment where we need to do everything we can to reduce emissions, whether that's not building new fossil fuel infrastructure, making the transition to a clean, just, equitable, clean energy future as quickly as possible, but also participating in programs that help reduce emissions and bring revenue back to Virginia to help protect Virginians to better prepare for the impacts of climate disruption. So we're seeing just outrageous climate impacts across the globe, across the United States. We feel them, we see them here in Virginia. It's in recurrent flooding in multiple parts of the state. It's in extreme weather that is getting worse. So anything we can do to help reduce emissions and make our environment healthier, our future better, we hope that folks will really support that. And RGGI is one of the ways in which we can do that.
Yes, thank you, Jessica. And I think that just to reiterate and to put a exclamation point on that, we are in the midst of some challenges that we have never experienced before as a globe, and we're seeing a number of impacts based on climate and weather, but we're seeing the toll that that's taking on the lives of the people who live on this planet, and also the all of the rest of the life that's on this planet, right? It's not just really about people. It's also about creatures, and it's about protecting our soil. It's about protecting the air quality. It's about protecting water quality. All of what RGGI does, reducing the carbon and greenhouse gas emissions, has impacts, ripple impacts, for all of those things I just listed. It's not really purely about energy. It is about how do we care for one another? How do we care for our neighbor? How do we live on this planet in a healthy way, protecting life not just for us today, but for the future. And so we at Virginia IPL are so very happy to be doing this work as our mission and as our vision. I know that Appalachian Voices as well, and so we invite you to join us. You can join using all caps. You can get our e-news. You can find out more about RGGI on our website, also on Appalachian Voices website. And again, I just want to thank you, Jessica, for spending the few minutes with us today. One final announcement. I do want to remind those who are listening, if you're to encourage your faith leader, whatever tradition you are from, Buddhist, Sikh, Hindu, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, or whatever, to participate in our Climate in the Pulpits on the Bima and on the Minbar. It is an initiative we launch each fall, starting in September, and it lasts through the end of November. And what we are asking faith leaders to do there is to talk about, speak about, teach about, take some kind of action related to climate change, helping your members, helping the people who are tenets of your faith tradition to learn more about how they can be involved in the climate movement, and how we can all of our traditions in some way encourage us to care for people and planet. And so again, we're just happy to be part of this work, and we're just happy to have had this really great conversation today with Jessica Sims from Appalachian Voices. And we look forward to seeing all of you on on Monday at noon on 9th and Grace, if you're in the Richmond region, and go to one of our websites to find out where, if you're in another part of the state. Thank you again, Jessica. And we're signing off now.